Are you obsessed with progress? As in, if you're not making any progress in your life, whatever that means for you, you feel like a loser? I think most of us go through what I call FOSS, fear of sucking. We see where other people are. We think that's where we should be too. We look at where we are and we panic. FOSS is real. And it's basically that gap between where you are and where you think you should be, turning into pressure. When I go on a long hike with my dogs and there's a big hill in front of me, there's two things that do not help my ascent at all. The first thing is keeping my eyes fixed on the top. You know that tree up there that represents victory? Because you're told you must keep your eyes on the prize. So you do. You lock your eyes onto that one point in the distance. You're here, the tree's there, and from where you are, it looks tiny, far away. And you start walking. Step after step, putting in the effort, feeling your legs working, your breath getting heavier, you're sweating. Oh yeah, baby, you're doing it. But something annoying happens. The tree doesn't seem to get any closer. It's like the distance stays the same. And after a while, it starts to feel pointless. It's like all this effort isn't getting you anywhere. Whereas if you simply drop your gaze and look at your steps, one foot in front of the other, you can actually see the ground passing beneath you. The progress becomes visible. You're not moving faster, but you're finally looking at something that allows you to register movement. It's the same in your life. Having a direction or a goal is fine. Knowing where you're heading can be useful. But if all you ever keep your eyes on is how far you still have to go, you're going to feel as if you're stuck, even when you're not. You'll discount everything that's already happening because it doesn't match the scale of where you think you should be by now. And over time, that drains you. Because even though you are making progress, you're not letting yourself see it. The second thing that does not help me on those hills is looking at my dogs. Because they run up the hill like they're still on flat ground. Effortless, no hesitation, just gone. And when I look at them, my own pace suddenly feels ridiculous. Slow, heavy, almost embarrassing in comparison. It creates this instant sense that I'm doing it wrong. Otherwise, I'd already be out there too, right? But objectively, nothing has changed. My body is still doing exactly the same thing it was doing 2 seconds ago. My pace hasn't slowed down. The hill hasn't become steeper. The only thing that's changed is that I am comparing my pace to the pace of my dogs. And that alone is enough to completely alter how the experience feels for me from the inside. So this is where learning to mind your own business becomes useful. Not as a moral rule, not as a way to ignore other people or pretend they don't exist, but as something practical. Comparison isn't the problem. What you make it mean is. If looking at other people in a given moment makes you feel smaller, discouraged, or behind, then it is simply not helpful data for you right now. So don't use it. No one is walking the exact same path as you. No one has your exact rhythm. You know, those two things, your path and your rhythm, are determined by your life story. Do you know many people who have the exact same life story as you? Look at where you're placing your own feet. Notice even the tiny progress you make. The small steps you take, they count. You're moving. That's what matters. Don't worry about the pace. And what happens if you stall? Let's say it's a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon and you realize you've just spent the last 4 hours scrolling on your phone. Suddenly it becomes an identity crisis. I'm a dopamine addict. I've just wasted 4 hours of my life. I'm a failure. It escalates pretty quickly, doesn't it? But if you were to look at this objectively for a second, what actually happened? You spent 4 hours on your phone. That's it. That's the data. Everything else is the meaning you added on top. If you stick to the actual data, you've got options from there. And one of them is to say, okay, this is what's happened. Where to now? That's it. And for all the drama queens and kings out there, let's talk about the times when you feel like you're not just not making any progress, but worse than that, you feel like you're going backward. That one really trips people up. You have a bad moment in your day and suddenly becomes, I'm regressing. The frustration is real. The disappointment is real. Maybe today at the supermarket, the line in front of you was very long and you found yourself getting really impatient. And now when you think about it, it pisses you off because you thought you'd become a very Zen person, with all this inner work you'd been doing. Yeah, you'd been doing so well up to that point. Completely unbothered by the snail-paced drivers on your way to work. Totally cool with your mother-in-law's critiques about your cooking. And the other day, you even sat for a whole 7 minutes without getting worked up while your internet connection decided to reset itself out of the blue. So yes, today at the supermarket was you regressing big time and you're mad at yourself for that. But what if you zoomed out a little bit? A bad moment is just a bad moment. Even if we push it further, a bad day is what? 24 hours. Even several bad days in the context of an entire life is only a tiny fraction of it. But everything feels bigger when you're up close. So when you're right in the middle of a bad moment, it feels huge. So huge that it hides everything else around it. All the good stuff that's actually there too. And we end up giving that bad moment a weight that doesn't match its actual size. We turn it into a trajectory. Oh no, now I'm headed for disaster. But think about this. When you watch a couple dancing tango, do you look at them thinking, what? They were going forward, now they're going backward? This is terrible. No, because you understand that's what the dance is. They move forward, then backward, they turn, they pause, they change direction. The backward step isn't a mistake. It's part of the movement. It creates the shape of the dance. If it was just straight from point A to point B, it wouldn't be a dance, would it? It would be a walk. So maybe your life isn't a straight line. Maybe your life isn't a walk, but a dance. Sometimes you move forward. Sometimes you go sideways. Sometimes there may be unexpected turns of events. And sometimes you feel like you're going backward. You don't have to turn every moment into evidence of progress or proof of failure. maybe just see it as evidence of movement. Because when you're only looking at the top of the hill, you'll feel stuck. When you're looking at everyone else, you'll feel behind. And when you make every small moment mean something about you, you'll either feel like you're winning or failing. That creates a lot of pressure. You know that force we were talking about earlier. But if you bring it back to this, movement, just movement, your own steps, your own rhythm, then suddenly you're not behind, you're not failing, you're just in it, you're dancing. Maybe that's enough.